Alright, I'm going to make a video on changing out the universal joints on my 1984 Mustang. This should be pretty much the same, I would imagine, between 79 and 93 at least. There may be some differences throughout the years, but this should pretty much give you an idea for any Fox body Mustang. Truthfully, for a lot of universals are pretty close to the same kind of setup. You know, GMs can be a little bit different, and there's some different variations, but this is definitely, this will give you the gist of it. Alright, so first things first, I recommend getting some PB Blaster or something similar and spray it into each one of these cups, going all the way around, front and rear. Let that settle in there for a little bit if you can. And next you're going to grab yourself a pair of needle nose pliers, and we're going to go ahead and try to remove this clip. Try to set this camera down. It's going to be a little hard to do one-handed. You may need a flathead screwdriver to kind of help you out, especially with the penetrating oil on it. It gets a little slick and it tries to snap back in like that. But if you get this underneath, I also recommend wearing safety glasses for this, for obvious reasons. Alright, so I got that corner up. Once you got one corner up, should be able to pull that guy right out. Alright, so the best way to do this would be to get a couple sockets. You would need one that'll fit on the outside like that, so your cup can push into the inside of this. And then you would want a smaller socket that'll fit on the inside here. And the idea would be to have this into the vise, have that in there, have this on the other end, so you can push into this socket. Unfortunately, that's not going to work for me because my vise will not open up wide enough for this universal. So I can only get the one socket on. I can't get the one on the other end. So what I'm going to do is, for now, take the small socket, put it on the inside of here, and I'm going to put the other end here just up against this. And there's only about 1/8 of an inch travel. You can see right there. But I'm going to go ahead and push it that 1/8 of an inch, make sure that it's moving freely. With the penetrating oil, I think it'll go no problem. And then after that, I'm going to get this set up in the vise where I can get a socket on the inside of this, preferably an impact socket, and I'll take a ball peen hammer and try to drive it out that way. Okay, so I'm set up here. I have the small socket on the inside. I actually took one of my oversized combination wrenches and I kind of rigged it in a way that that's going to gain me about 1/2 inch or so. So hopefully that cup will push into there. I know that looks rigged up a little bit, but it's what you do when you don't want to go get the tool. I will mention that they do have a tool for this. You could probably rent it from your local parts store. It's like a big C clamp. It's got different size adapters on it. But this usually works. Unfortunately, again, my vise won't open up wide enough to get that socket in there. Hopefully yours does, but if not, I have a feeling this will start pushing it out. Yep, starting to move. The cup's starting to push out now. I just put a wrench on here for a little more leverage. You can see the cup is pushing out here as well. And that's probably about it. So I'm going to go ahead and undo this and we can start trying to knock it out. Alright, so once you get your impact socket in there, bang that guy through. It will go. Now you can see that this guy's nice and loose. Grab yourself some channel locks or some large vice grips or something and try to get this cup off on the other side. There's the cup needle bearings in there. So now you got that guy off, so it gives you a lot more flexibility here. So now we should be able to finagle this right out of here. Alright, so now you should be able to get it to a point where you can get this guy to come out. It might catch on you a little bit on the end here. If it does, give this a couple love taps with a hammer. I won't get too aggressive with it, but it shouldn't take much to knock that out. And that's it. Now it'll come right out of there. So with the other side, you can pretty much do the same thing we just did. I'm going to try something a little bit different here, only because I have this in my hand now. It's easier to work with. So you can take, again, an oversized socket that the cup will fit through. I'm actually going to use this. This is the old throw-out bearing from the clutch I just did. It happens to be a good size for this. So we're going to take our smaller socket. We're going to set that like that. We're going to put our smaller socket there. And hopefully this is going to drive right out. Yeah, that went pretty easily. Again, the penetrating oil makes all the difference in the world. Like I said, these are more than likely original universals. Cup came right off now. Now you can finagle this guy out just like we did the other one. You may have to get this cup off first. You got to play with them a little bit, but it'll definitely go. You're going to use the same process on the opposite end. It's no different. Same exact process. I'm not going to video that because it would just be repeating what I already did. So I'm going to go ahead and get this off camera, get everything cleaned up, and go find some new universals. Hopefully my local parts store has them. If not, I'll get them online. Hopefully they have some decent ones there. I don't like to use cheapos, so we'll see what they have, and we'll do the installation. Alright, so here's what comes with your universal. Obviously the universal itself, you'll get 4 clips, you'll get a grease fitting. This one clip in this particular style, the one clip is different than the other 3. That one's going to go where the grease fitting is, which would be there. Some don't come with a grease fitting, and some come with a standard grease fitting that fits on a, your typical grease gun. This style here is that'll focus. It's like a needle type. You got to have an adapter for your grease gun for that. But that's it in a nutshell. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to demonstrate putting a universal in this guy here. Alright, start off by removing your 4 cups. Be careful, place them upright because you'll see the needle bearings inside of there. They can come loose and fall out on you, and then you got to try to finagle it back in there. So set those to the side. Alright, just until you're left with just that. So grab this guy. We're going to use the vise for this. Take that and get it so it goes in like so. Grab a cup. Just get that set in there as far as it'll go by hand. And then get the other end, same thing. Okay. That guy pushed in pretty far by itself, so we're going to take advantage of that. That one did too. So now we're going to take our smaller socket, the one that's going to fit like that. You don't want it too big where it's bigger than the cup, then it's not going to push for you. That socket right where you need it. Alright. Now as we tighten this up, you should be able to watch this cup right there start to push through. Now don't push it so far where you overdrive it. You want it just far enough where you can get that first clip in there. Alright, so we got our cup pushed in. Hopefully you can see that. You can see your groove there now. So you're going to take your clip and your needle nose pliers again. We're going to squeeze that and we're going to set that right in the groove. That'll snap right into the groove. Flip it over, go to your other side. We don't need the vise for this because they're pushing in pretty easy. So we're just going to take an impact socket. We're going to tap that guy in. A little bit more. Now we can go ahead and snap our ring on this side. I also painted the drive shaft. Obviously you saw it before. It was surface rust from sitting in the garage with the humidity. But anyhow, I painted it up. If that's something you want to do, I use this VHT paint. That's the name of it. I thought it was a pretty good color for the drive shaft. So anyhow, I painted it up, and then I took a Brillo pad, a 3M pad, and then I just kind of sanded a little bit after it dried the next day, kind of dulled it down a little bit. You know, I didn't want it too shiny. I want it to look as close to original as possible. So now this side here is the one with the grease fitting, so just make sure you got the right clip. Definitely make sure that that snaps into that groove. So once you get both cups set in there and you got your clips on both sides, check this, see how it's pivoting. You can see that's kind of stiff. You definitely want that to be looser than that. Basically, the only way to really remedy that is you want to give it a couple taps on both sides here, and that usually loosens them up a bit. They'll loosen up over time, but you definitely want them as loose as possible when you first install them. Yeah, much better. I would like it a little bit better than that, but definitely better than it was. So pretty much to repeat, except now you're going to have your whole shaft. Get that into your vise. Slide this in. Same process, put your cups in. And then you're going to go ahead, same thing with your vise, you're going to go ahead and press those in. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Make sure all 4 clips are in. Don't forget to put your grease fitting in. I still got to do that. Just thread it in. And I do recommend giving a little more grease. Put it in until it starts to come out the seals a little bit, and then just wipe it down with a rag. And that's it. One thing look out for, because I had it happen to me, as I mentioned earlier, always take these cups and face them up, and before you put them in, double check and make sure that none of these rollers fell down in the bottom, because I had that happen, and you'll know. I knew right away, because when I was putting the cups in, it was just that little bit. It didn't want to go far enough to get the clip in there. So definitely double and triple check that before you put those cups on, or you'll be redoing it. Not a big deal. I got it in there. Everything's moving nice and smooth. So that's it. That's how to change your universals. I got 4 new bolts to tie this in. These guys right here, they come off pretty hard because of the Loctite. So I recommend changing them for sure, because next time you try to get these off, you might be in trouble. I think they were like $8 or $10. So that's it. Hope it helped.